This is the EIR Podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs in residence with your host, Henrik de Geer.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is John Gamba. I am the entrepreneur in residence here at Penn's Graduate School of Education. Been here 6 months. I'm the school's first entrepreneur in residence. Prior to that, I've had a career as a serial entrepreneur, founding, funding, overseeing several education technology ventures, focusing on curriculum, communications, and professional learning.
John, how are you involved as an entrepreneur in residence?
So when I got here about 6 months ago, it really was centered around supporting and mentoring entrepreneurs who are coming through our Graduate School of Education, primarily through the Milken Education Business Plan Competition, now in its 10th year. We have about 150 entrepreneurs from 20 to 25 countries come through our Milken Business Plan Competition. And through that competition and associated programming, meetups, webinars, through our Catalyst at Penn GSE programming, I provide mentorship to those entrepreneurs, helping them in three primary ways. First, I really try to focus on, what is your business model? What is the value proposition? How are you trying to differentiate your business, your ed tech business, based on a lot of lessons learned that I have had as an entrepreneur in the education and ed tech space. So I really try to work on business model, value proposition, competitive differentiation, and long-term sustainability. The second area that I focus on with the entrepreneurs that I mentor is this idea of theory of change and research to practice. We have a storied history here at Penn GSE, amazing researchers, evaluation teams, people who are really on the cutting edge of advancing innovation in worldwide education. And I really try to work with my entrepreneurs on what are the outcomes of what you're trying to do with the product service venture that you're currently developing. So we work on theory of change, we work on theory of practice, we work on measurable outcomes and efficacy. And in a lot of ways, a lot of times that they find, that the entrepreneurs that I work with find that leads to sustainable competitive advantage as much as anything else, whether their product or service is differentiated through technology and barrier to entry, whether it's truly differentiated from some of the other competitors that are on the market. But if they really get outcomes and efficacy right, they're finding that they have a better chance of being investable and sustaining their business model over time. The third area of support and mentorship is just typical matchmaking. I get a lot of entrepreneurs that come to my entrepreneur in residence office hours and say, hey, I need an investor or investor prospect who would be willing to listen to me on this new application on workforce development and higher education. And I'll lead them to the leading investors in that space. So they'll say, I need a chief technology officer to help take my MVP to the next level so I can scale it for accessibility and sustainability and security and privacy for the long haul. Or it could be, hey, I need an instructional designer to help me take my professional learning application and develop best practices for instructional design so that when teachers consume or teachers take the courses that are being developed, it's done with best practices through instructional design. So again, kind of three lenses or three focus areas of how I typically work with entrepreneurs. One is the business model. Two is theory of change, theory of practice, and efficacy. And three is just typical matchmaking, how I can get the entrepreneurs in the right hands to help grow and sustain their business over time.
John, what are the biggest challenges and successes you've seen as an entrepreneur in residence?
Well, I think just being an entrepreneur in residence within a university setting, there has to be some level setting on this idea of innovation, advancing innovation in an environment that is typically your typical leading research university that has a vision and mission of teaching, learning, research. And I think our Dean Pam Grossman has done a great job, and our executive director, Michael Golden, has done a great job of taking sort of that challenge of it being a typical research university and flipping it a little bit and really being focused on driving innovation through our Catalyst Center and exposing that sort of entrepreneurial mindset and innovation mindset throughout our culture and throughout our organization, across our faculty base, across our administrative base. But sometimes when we think as entrepreneurs and we think as innovators, it sometimes challenges how the typical landscape or the typical culture within a research university manifests itself. So that's a little bit of a challenge, is how do you bring entrepreneurial mindset, innovative mindset inside a university setting. On the success side, I've seen a world of entrepreneurs who have applied to our business plan competition, one of say 150 per year, get narrowed down to 20 semifinalists and then down to 7 finalists. And I really see their success being manifesting through their ability to be both coachable and humble, really. The coachability of being able to say they're a classroom teacher and then learn the business skills to be able to develop a product and deploy it in market. That takes grit, that takes passion, that takes persistence and resilience. So the ones who have been most successful through our business plan competition and through our programming have really been able to sort of demonstrate that paradox of humility and will. They're humble, they're coachable, they're willing to learn, and then they also have the grit, resilience, perseverance to crash through walls and do whatever it takes to develop their product and service inside of what is typically the glacial pace by which the education markets typically maneuver and move.
John, what advice would you like to share with other EIRs?
I think, one of the things that I try to measure my success on is not just being a great mentor, being present and intentional with the type of mentoring that I'm providing. I measure myself on my ability to, and I think other EIRs should do this, my ability to not impart my knowledge, but really facilitate collisions of the people that I'm mentoring with other fellow entrepreneurs, as well as other stakeholders in the area of interest or the area of influence of that entrepreneur. For example, if I'm working with somebody who's working on a program or a product that is based on social emotional learning or mental health literacy or some way to advance human development, I may want to try to encourage that entrepreneur to not go it alone and work through a lens of collective impact. And I feel that it's not only my job to just focus on the 3 keys of value proposition and the efficacy and theory of change and the matchmaking, but also thinking about these big problems that we have in education through a collective impact lens. And I think other entrepreneurs and residents, if you can create that community of practice or that community of entrepreneurship with people who are focused on common challenges and collective impact, would be a lot more successful than just treating each entrepreneur as an individual who is focused on delivering value and deploying a product or service in their own unique way.
John, where can we learn more about Entrepreneurs in Residence and your work as an EIR?
So anybody can Google Catalyst at Penn GSE. Again, that's Catalyst at Penn GSE. We're online with a great overview of our programming. Again, that programming is seen through the lens of entrepreneurship, research, and practice. And we have information on there, including links to my Entrepreneur in Residence hours, which is open to any Penn faculty member, administrator, or any entrepreneur who's focused on advancing innovation in worldwide education. And you can find me by Googling John Gamba on LinkedIn. And happy to engage with anybody who's interested and focused on having an impact in worldwide education.
Well, thanks, John.
You're welcome. Great to be with you.
For more about this, visit EIRpodcast.com. Don't forget to please subscribe, rate, and review. Tune in next week for the next episode. Thanks for listening.